What's worse, never being called in at all, or getting close over and over and over again, but not booking? Most actors would say the second one. But today I'm going to show you why almost is actually one of the best signs you're on the right track. We'll tackle the negative self-talk and replace it with the kind of mindset that keeps you in the game and gets you closer to the win. This is Casting Actors Cast.
Casting Actors Cast, what a show! With Jeffrey Dreisbach, we're ready to go. From agents to gigs, learn what you lack. Tune in every week, we're bringing you back.
We're going to kick off the show right after this. Well, hello. Welcome to Casting Actors Cast. I'm Jeffrey Dreisbach. I'm a casting director with McCorkle Casting in New York. You know what? Every actor knows the sting of being so close to booking a role. You nailed the audition, maybe even got a callback, but in the end, the role went over to somebody else. You're just not right. And then over time, I know this firsthand, those near misses can feel like rejection after rejection. And the self-defeating thoughts start creeping in. I'll never make it. I must be doing something wrong, etc., etc. But here's the truth. Being almost there is not failure. It's progress. It's evidence that you're in the mix, that casting directors see your talent, and that you are one step away from landing another job. We're going to talk about that in this episode. We're going to flip the script on almost. You'll learn why close calls matter, how to shift your mindset, and how to keep momentum when the bookings aren't rolling in yet. But first, this is that moment of the conversation where I get to say thank you for tuning in to Casting Actors Cast. I love doing these podcasts. It's been so much fun for me. And guess what? The audience continues to grow. I still get a lot of really nice comments being made on the website, which is castingactorscast, all one word.com. There's a place that says dive into the talent pool. If you do that, it just gives me your name and email address. That'll open up some freebies. There's a book on voiceover work. There's a video called Casting Secrets, What They Don't Tell You. You're also going to see some other offerings there on the website. My book called Booked It, The Actor's Playbook for Getting Cast. Also, there's past episodes of Casting Actors Cast and the blog that corresponds to each of the shows. So you can get a blog using the show notes that I use to deliver the podcasts. It's all an effort to try to make this a warm, positive community for actors who sometimes find that they're awfully alone in this business. I'm doing my very best to let you know that you are not alone. And being a casting director for over 15 years with McCorkle Casting has given me a lot of insight. And I was an actor before that. So I can now sort of give back what I got, or even what I wasn't given when I was an actor. And so I'm happy to share that. Please let me know if you like this episode by going to anywhere you're getting your podcast. There's a place that you can leave a review or like, especially iTunes. That seems to be the holy grail of reviews. I can always use some positive feedback. That's what keeps me going, because I'm shallow. Maybe not that shallow, but I'm kind of shallow. I would love for you to reach out should you be so inclined. Now let's jump into the subject. This is the reality of hearing almost, or feeling like you're almost there. Number one, most importantly, you guys, casting is subjective. Tiny factors outside your control determine final choices. Somebody write that down. That was really good. The littlest adjustments asked for by the producer or the director from casting means that it has nothing to do with you. It has everything to do with something that is completely out of your control. It's important. But I have to tell you that if you're seeing yourself in the top tier on a regular basis, that means you're the right brand for the role. You're competitive with those booked actors. You're being remembered for future projects. I like the key phrase almost. It means you're visible. Almost means you're visible. So here's a reason why I think, and I could be wrong. I'd love to hear from you. Please send me some feedback on this. See if you agree. Actors spiral into negative self-talk. The thoughts like, if I were good enough, I would have booked it. You know what? That's something I literally said early on in my career. And then, of course, there's that comparison trap, watching peers post bookings on social media. How does that feel? Oh, my goodness. That's like a gut punch sometime. I honestly, I'll be truthful. I remember saying, they got the job? What the hell? And that's because I didn't know all of the parameters when I was auditioning for the piece. I didn't. But looking at another actor and wondering, gosh, I think and thought that I had so much more going on than they did. Once again, that's a slippery slope, and that's a trap that you can put yourself in. And you know what happens at that point? That leads to emotional burnout from those repeated near misses. Here's a key phrase. Comparison is corrosive. Focus on your own trajectory. Keep it simple and keep it on your terms. That's the only way you're going to find a level of survival and keeping you on top of that slippery slope that puts us in a really bad place. So when you reframe almost as progress, that changes the atmosphere. It means almost is evidence that you're on casting's radar. So each callback is really a layer of trust that's being built between you and the casting director and the director or producer of the project, depending upon what it is. So it's not wasted energy. It's not wasted on the moment. It really is something that can build a level of confidence and trust in those people that would bring you in again or want you to be seen for their other projects. See, casting directors often say, if they don't book this, we're going to see them again. That happens all the time. A good audition is something that lasts a long, long time. Now, I have a story to tell you. So, you know the actor J.K. Simmons, I hope. Done a lot of really amazing work. Well, I worked with J.K. in 2 shows. I worked with J.K. on a musical production of Peter Pan. Yeah, we were both pirates in a theater in Pennsylvania. That sounds kind of weird. Peter Pan in Pennsylvania. And so JK was one of the pirates, as was I. Later, after that, it was amazing to know that we were both cast in a production of Guys and Dolls. So looking at JK's career, he's now become that guy. But he was that guy before landing roles that defined him. He wasn't going to be stuck in the musical theater thing, but he really was very, very good. He knew his stuff, but that was a foundation. When he started getting those commercials, for example, he started getting that kind of exposure. It was an amazing trajectory. And if I saw JK today, I'd just give him a hug and say congratulations. So the key phrase almost is what I think is a rehearsal for yes. Okay, somebody write that down. That was really good. So here are some actionable mindset shifts that I would ask you to consider if you find yourself in those near miss situations. First of all, replace I blew it with I made an impact. Let me repeat that. Don't say I blew it. Say I made an impact. Say I grew stronger in the room. Say I'm providing consistency with my work, with all of the callbacks that I've been given. You don't have to have the cigar, but you can say close but no cigar, and that's okay too. It's not a prize. Auditioning is not an event. It's part of the job of being an actor. So here's a suggestion that I would love for you to consider. Write down 3 things you did well in the audition. So the next audition you have, just make sure, if you're journaling, and I hope you are, I think that there's great value in doing that. The 3 things that you were really happy with that you did in your audition. Now, this is important that I make this really, really clear. I'm not talking about what you did as far as your performance is concerned, okay? Because I want you to be so invested in your acting that you're not watching yourself so that you can give yourself notes later about your acting. I really want you to structure those 3 positive things that reference you as an actor in the room. Do you understand the difference? So this isn't about, watching yourself and then writing that down. Oh, I could have been more angry, or I could have done this or that. Woulda, shoulda, coulda. Don't do that. But did you feel you were making a nice personal connection with the people in the room? Were you feeling the positive energy that was happening in the room? Were you able to shift that energy in the room so that it created an even better atmosphere? All of those things before the actual audition, and indeed after the audition is over. That's something that you can evaluate when the audition is over. So I think that there's also a mental mantra that needs to be adopted here. And that is, quote, "The more I'm seen, the closer I get," end quote. Isn't that good? The more I'm seen, the closer I get. That really is helpful, because now you can say it's only a matter of time. And that becomes what you control versus what you can't control, doesn't it? See, control means preparation. You can really spend time on the audition itself. Control means, what choices are you making for the character? Control means professionalism. Control means your attitude about your work. All of those things are foundational. And that leads you to the next step, which is starting to book the job. Here's what's out of your control. You're not ever going to know, not necessarily, what casting needs. Casting might have parameters that are just so completely not to do with you. And that's because perhaps the director has somebody in mind for the role. And so you coming in, you have to knock that person who's in that producer or director's mind out of the running. You see? And so that has nothing to do with you other than just demonstrating your good work. There's also timing politics. The timing politics are literally, like I just said, if the director or the producer has somebody else in mind, that's out of your control. And the politics part, well, there's that kind of stuff going on behind the scene. And then there's that bugaboo that we all kind of don't talk about, which is the look. Do they have the right look? Kind of crazy, right? But I will say from my experience that most directors, most producers who are involved in casting actors, they have a vision. They have an ideal quality that they might be looking for part of the time, not all of the time. The other part of the time is that they're saying to themselves, I'll know it when I see it. That makes me crazy, doesn't it? Yeah, makes me crazy. But on the other hand, that's the process. That's what it is. It's not something that you can fight. It's something that you can understand so that you can focus more energy on those more important things. I'm going to have a key phrase for you to work with and more information about this subject right after this. Welcome back. So we're talking about the mindset. The actor who gets really, really close to auditions but doesn't book it. I have a key phrase for you. Do your work, release the rest. Come on, I like that. Do your work, but release the rest. That is in conjunction what we just talked about before the break, which is what you have control over versus what you don't have control over. Because here's an example. An actor might lose a role because they look too much like the lead. Has nothing to do with your talent. You see, that's an example of how choices are made that have nothing to do with your talent. I will also say that as a casting director, it's my experience that talent is a given. I don't bring in, quote, untalented, end quote, people. That's not my job. My job is to fulfill the vision of the producer and director. By the way, I don't remember ever saying they're untalented. I do remember saying they're good, but they're not right. There's a big difference there, and I hope you can appreciate that difference. The other suggestion I'm going to be making is that consider staying energized between those almosts. How do you stay energized? Well, you need to keep training, continue those classes, workshops, scene study, meeting other actors, sharing your experience with other people who are in the same boat, because your creative life outside of auditions, whether you're writing, perhaps you're working on a short film or a one-person show or whatever stage work you're doing, that's much, much more valuable. Finally, when you're working with other actors, when you're talking with other actors, when you're in a class together, you know what you're doing? You're nurturing community. You're developing supportive actor friends, and they're not just competitors anymore. It doesn't make it an us versus them, a me versus them. It really doesn't. Your competitors are irrelevant. You don't have competitors. The key phrase, fuel the artist, not just the audition. And I'm going to repeat my other mantra, which is an audition is not an event, right? So here's why almost means you're closer than you think. Being in the conversation equals winning at a hidden level. Casting remembers consistency. I know this to be true. Momentum will always build more slowly than you want. It always is more slow than sudden. The key phrase almost is the bridge to booked. You might be next in line should the other actor drop out. Guess what? That happens more than you think. You're the second choice. The first actor says, upon further consideration, I've decided I'm not interested in accepting the role. What? Okay, who is our second choice? In fact, this is true. I asked a director yesterday because he says, I love these two guys. I think I'm going to go with guy A. And I said, well, I just want to understand now that if guy A is not able to do the job, would you be equally happy with guy B? Because I needed to know whether this is something to prepare for in terms of finding a replacement. But he said yes. You see what happens? Now we'll see if A takes it. But if A doesn't take it, B might be just the thing. So here's my call to action and my close. So the next time you hear you were amazing, but we went another direction, please do not look at that as a defeat. Let it encourage you. Almost means you're in play, you're in demand, and you're building a career with staying power. The bookings will come. Why? The bookings will come because you're already doing the work. So here's my call to action. Write down the new mantras that we shared in this episode. And you know what? Share that with a friend. In the same point, in the same way. Tell those folks to listen to this episode because that might be really helpful for someone you know as well. Thank you so much for tuning into this podcast. It's been a pleasure bringing it. Please don't forget to like and share and subscribe. The fact that you lasted this long through the episode in our short attention span theater means so very much. Thank you. I'm Jeffrey Dreisbach, and this is Casting Actors Cast.
It's been great having you in our talent pool today. Your support means the world to us, so please consider sharing, liking, and reviewing this episode wherever you jump in. I'm Megan Grace Martinez. Thanks.
From monologues to screens.